After the Kentucky school shooting on Tuesday, one of the reporters in the White House press room tried tacitly blaming the incident on President Trump. It didn't go well for him. According to Fox News, 2 teenagers were dead and 18 people were wounded after a shooting at Marshall County High School in eastern Kentucky. The suspect, a student at the school, has been charged as an adult with murder. In the aftermath of the incident, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders held a news conference. According to the Daily Caller, NBC News' Peter Alexander began to press Sanders on the incident. What has the president done since October to prevent any of the shootings from taking place? Alexander said, referring to the Las Vegas massacre. Sanders was clearly ready for the question. Look, I think, first and foremost, to recognize that any loss of life is incredibly sad, and any shooting at any school across this country is something that should never happen, Sanders said. Students fearing for their lives while they're attempting to get an education is unacceptable, certainly in this administration, and by this administration the president believes that all Americans deserve to be safe in their schools and in their communities. We've had 2 years of increased violence prior to the president taking office. We've tried to crack down on crime throughout the country, she continued. Sanders listed concrete steps such as charging more defendants with violent crime offenses than in any year in decades. They've charged the most federal firearm prosecutions in a decade, and they've convicted 1,200 gang members and took down numerous drug trafficking organizations, all in an attempt to help create safer and better communities, and certainly safer schools. But what is the president specifically doing? Alexander continued. You guys said at the time, today was not the day, but we should have these policies, you said it. Look, I just read off a lot of the things that he's doing, Sanders responded. Alexander continued to press, claiming that school shootings weren't part of a crime wave and seemed to be their own category. I think they're part of a crime wave, absolutely, Sanders said. I don't think you can completely separate the two. They are a part of domestic violence, and I think that it certainly would be part of a crime wave that we are focused on addressing. And you can see some of the things that we've done since taking office. Alexander then asked if the president will come before the nation and tell Americans how he feels about this issue, and try to do what he can with the bully pulpit to help. Sanders finally lost her cool with the innuendos. Let me be very clear on this, Sanders said, raising her voice. The fact that you're basically accusing the president of being complicit in a school shooting is outrageous. When Alexander's next comment basically showed he was basically shilling for the Democrat Party, Sanders let him have it. Check it out here. Things get warm about the 220 mark. Sanders is right. The implication in these matters is, of course, that the Second Amendment is really to blame for all of this, and if there were no Second Amendment or Republicans defending it, that this violence would magically disappear. The problem is much deeper than that. It's a social disease, a cultural illness that makes someone think that death is the answer to their problems. Removing weapons won't remove that sickness, nor will constantly accosting Republicans and gun owners. The media, alas, refuses to recognize this very salient fact. The Trump administration does, and we can only hope more headway is made.